Hello everyone and welcome back to UPSC Prep with Shoiko. In our last session, we went over chapter 1 where we discussed how to understand the UPSC Civil Service exam. So today we will be moving on to chapter 2 where we will be going to discuss on the approach to our UPSC CSE preparation. So what are the topics that we will be discussing in today's session? We will be going to look at the exam cycle after taking an example. We will be breaking down the syllabus from both prelims and mains perspective. We will try to understand the interview process. And finally, we will look at exactly how to prioritize our subjects and based on which we can prepare ourselves. And lastly, we will try to see that what will be there in our next session. So let's start with the first topic, the exam cycle. Now, what do you mean by this exam cycle? It is nothing but, say for example, think of your UPSC journey not just as a test, but as a continuous cycle of preparation, patience and performance. So already UPSC has declared its exam calendar for 2027. So let's walk through the UPSC exam calendar for 2027 to see exactly what this timeline looks like. So the journey officially begins when the UPSC CSE exam 2027 notification will be released in January 2027. 13th of January, the notification will release and the start date of the notification will be on 13th of January and the last date for applying is on 2nd of Feb 2027. So your first major milestone is the UPSC CSE prelims exam, which falls on when? May 23rd, 2027. Now, if you clear that particular hurdle, you will face the UPSC CSE mains exam, which will be starting from 20th of August 2027 and which will be running for 5 days. Now, following the mains, the UPSC CSE personality takes place, but it will take place in phases from December 2027 until February or March 2028. And finally, the merit list will come in the month of April 2028. And just like that, by May 2028, a new journey begins as the next cycle kicks off for the UPSC CSE 2028 exam. Now, if you see, it's a continuous cycle. Our notification came when? 13th of January 2027, it's the start date and end date, last date for applying is on 2nd of Feb. 23rd of May 2027 will be our prelims exam. If we qualify the prelims exam, then we will be sitting for our mains exam, which will be starting from 20th of August 2027. And again, if we qualify the mains, we will be going to our personality test or the interview phase, which will be happening in phases and starting from December till February or March. And finally, our result will come in the month of April 2028. Again, the cycle continues because the 2028 prelims will be in the month of May itself. So that means it's like a continuous cycle of what? Now, preparation, patience and performance. So one cycle ends and another begins. So that's how it is. Now let's talk about the first stage of our preparation, which is nothing but the prelims syllabus or the prelims exam. So let's talk about this particular stage. So in prelims, what are the things that we are having? We already discussed in our previous session. So both the prelims papers. Now in prelims, we have two papers as we have already discussed in our previous session, paper 1 and paper 2. So in both the papers will be of what? Now multiple choice and objective type. So that means in prelims, both papers will be of multiple choice and objective type. But the main thing is that it is mandatory for the candidate to appear in both the papers of civil services. That is the preliminary exam. It is not like this that you have appeared for the GS paper 1, that is the general studies paper 1, and you have skipped your GS paper 2. So in that case, you are out. Even if you score a 200 out of 200 in GS paper 1, since you did not appear for the GS paper 2 exam, you will not qualify for the main stage. Similar thing happens for the paper 2 as well. Like if you have applied or if you have given the exam on paper 2, but you have missed for the paper 1, in that scenario also, your paper will be disqualified. That means you will not be moving to the main stage. So in prelims stage, what exactly we need to study? Let's see one by one. So first of all, we will be covering the general studies paper 1 syllabus. So in this paper 1, we will be covering the paper 1 syllabus. So in this paper 1, what are the things that we need to study? It includes, first of all, the current affairs. So though it is not a separate subject, it is a part of all the subjects. But since UPSC has mentioned it as a separate topic, so that's why we are discussing it over here. So what exactly we need to study from the current affairs portion? We need to study the current events of national and international importance. That's it. Next comes history. So over here, what exactly we need to study? Now you will need to study the history of India and the Indian national movement. Next comes geography. So in geography, what the syllabus is saying from prelims perspective. So it includes both Indian and world geography. But specifically they have mentioned about what? Now physical geography, social geography, economic geography of India and the world. So think of it as this part, Indian and world geography, is the main topic or main syllabus. Within this syllabus, we need to study what? The physical geography of India, the social geography of India, the economic geography of India. From world geography perspective, what are the things that we need to study? The physical geography of the world, the social geography of the world, and the economic geography of the world as well. Now next comes Indian polity. So in Indian polity, what exactly we need to study? We need to study the Indian polity and governance. That's it. What they have mentioned? Now it will be covering constitution, the political system, and what else? Now Panchayati Raj, public policy, rights issues, and most important thing, etc. What does it means? It means that not only we need to study what are the topics that has been mentioned in the syllabus, like constitution, political system, Panchayati Raj, public policy, rights issues, but they can ask question from other topics as well, because they have mentioned this particular word called etc. Etc. will cover all the things apart from the whatever they have mentioned. Next comes the economy section. So in this economy section, what exactly it has been covered or been mentioned in the syllabus? The economy section covers the economic and the social development, such as sustainable development, poverty, inclusion, demographics, and social sector initiatives. If you see it carefully, over here also they have mentioned the term called etc. That means apart from whatever it is mentioned over here, they can ask other things as well. So this was all about the topics mentioned under economy section. Now let's move on to the next topic called environment. So what are the topics that they have mentioned over here? Now, like general issues on environmental ecology, biodiversity, and climate change that do not require subject specialization. It's not that you need to do your graduation or masters in environment or any subjects related to environment. A person who has done his or her graduation in history can also answer the questions. That's why they have mentioned it like this, that it does not require subject specialization. That's it. And next comes the general science. So what does they have mentioned over here? The general science, nothing else. They have not mentioned anything else apart from the word called general science. Now it's up to UPSC that what are the things that they will be asking under general science, that entirely it is up to them. Next comes the general studies paper 2. So in this paper 2, what are the things that we have to learn? So this is paper 2 syllabus. Paper 2 is commonly called as the CSAT paper as well. So as we all know that this particular paper is paper 2 of the civil service examination, that is the CSAT paper, is nothing but a qualifying paper with minimum qualifying marks fixed at 33%. 33% of what? Now 33% of the total marks. Now total marks in CSAT is of 200. So that means 33% of 200 is what? Now 66. So that means in CSAT paper, if you score more than 66, say for example, the minimum is 67. If you score 67, then that means you are through. So that's why they have mentioned that the qualifying paper, that is the CSAT paper, the minimum marks is at 33%. So what are the topics that is mentioned? What are the topics that is being covered in this CSAT paper? First of all, there are 3 broad topics: English, logical reasoning, and quantitative aptitude. So within English, what exactly they are testing us? It tests English comprehension and interpersonal skills, including the communication skills. That's it. Now under logical reasoning, what are the topics that is mentioned in the syllabus? It evaluates our logical reasoning and analytical ability, as well as decision making and problem solving. So in the later stages of our preparation, or in the later stage, I will show you that what type of questions usually comes. Now, since this is just the beginning, that's the foundation series that I am conducting over here. So that's why I am not going into deep. I just want to get you the feel of it. That's it, and nothing else. So from logical reasoning perspective, it's mentioned in the syllabus as logical reasoning and analytical ability, decision making and problem solving. Finally, it tests the quantitative aptitude. Through what? Now, through general mental ability of class 10 level basic numeracy, that is numbers and their relations, orders of magnitude, etc. And class 10 level data interpretation like charts, graphs, tables, etc. So basically quantitative aptitude, as per the syllabus, they have mentioned it as class 10 level. But when we will be discussing the questions that already came, like the previous year questions, then we will see that what is the exact type of question that they are asking. So this was all about the prelims syllabus. So now once you clear prelims, you enter the mains examination. So mains, now let's look at the what are the topics that is mentioned under mains syllabus. So main syllabus also, over here also we are having two qualifying papers. One is English and the other one is the language paper. Now if you qualified for these two papers, then only our other papers will be evaluated. If you cannot score the minimum cutoff marks for these two papers, your other papers like essay, GS papers and optional papers will not be evaluated. So let's understand that what are the topics that is mentioned for these two papers. First is the Indian language paper. Now what does this mean? It means that an aspirant can choose any of the papers, any of the language papers out of the 22 Indian languages mentioned in our Indian Constitution. So as per the under 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution, there are total 22 languages which has been mentioned. So an aspirant can choose any one of them. And now what type of questions will be coming from here? Now the language papers basically will be of matriculation. Now what type of questions that will be coming over here? Now see, the language papers and the English paper will be of matriculation or equivalent standard and will be of qualifying nature only. Okay, their marks will not be counted as part of our merit. Next is, as I mentioned, that these marks will not be counted for ranking. Only thing is that the papers on, as I mentioned, that the papers on essay, general studies and optional subject of only such candidates will be taken into cognizance who attain the minimum qualifying marks, which is the 25% marks in Indian language and 25% marks in English as a minimum qualifying standards in these qualifying papers. That means what? That means our paper, say for example the language paper will be of 250 marks. Each paper is of 250 marks. So you need to score, each paper will be of 300 marks, this particular paper. So you need to score 25% of the marks. That's it, and nothing else. So what type of questions they are asking basically? So what type of questions they are asking? Now, from both the Indian language as well as the English paper, what type of questions will ask? They will test your comprehension. They will give certain passages and then they will ask questions based on those passages. They will ask us some précis writing. That means the summary writing of a certain passage. Then usage and vocabulary and short essays. And for the language paper, there is one additional section called translation from English to the Indian language and vice versa. That means they will be giving one passage that is in English. You need to translate it to the Indian language paper which you have opted for in the exam. Similarly, they will be giving you a passage on the Indian language that you have opted for, and now you need to translate it to the English. Now this particular section is not applicable for our English paper. So in English paper, what are the things that they will be asking for? Now they will be asking some comprehension, that they will be given some comprehension and we need to answer for the questions. Second is the précis writing, usage and vocabulary and short essays. So these four remains common for both the language paper as well as the English paper. So for example, you have qualified the English paper as well as the qualifying paper. That means you have qualified, that means you have crossed that 25% marks. So now after qualifying, you will face the core general studies and optional paper. So these are the general studies paper that we will be having. First paper is, that is general studies paper 1 is our essay paper. Now, what type of question comes over here? What exactly I mean by essay paper? All these things we will be discussing in the subsequent sessions. So, General Studies paper 1, we will be having the essay paper. General Studies paper 2 covers Indian heritage and culture, history and geography of the world, and society. Now, General Studies paper 3 comprises of what? Now, it focuses on governance, constitution, polity, social justice, and international relations. Next comes General Studies paper 4. What type of topics that has been given in paper 4? Now, it encompasses technology, economic development, biodiversity, environment, security, and disaster management. And finally, we are having the paper 5, which is of ethics, integrity, and aptitude. So these are the 4 general studies papers that we are having, and the essay paper. Next comes the optional paper. So UPSC has given a list of optional subjects. There are total 26 optional subjects that they have given, ranging from agriculture to medical science, zoology, etc. Okay, literature subjects also we are having. So we need to choose any one of them, and there will be 2 papers based on those optional papers. So there are a list of 26 subjects we are having. So this was all about the mains syllabus. I hope you understood about it. Now you have qualified the mains as well. The final stage is the interview or personality test. The final stage is the interview or personality test. So let's clear up some misconceptions about this particular stage. Now, what are the objectives? So what are the objectives of the personality test? The objective is to assess candidates' suitability for a career in public service. Now, who conducts this exam, or who conducts the personality test? Now, it is conducted by a board of competent and unbiased members. Okay. Now, what type of questions are being asked usually? Now, questions are generally based on the candidate's background and matters of general interest. So, it usually focuses on what? The test focuses on evaluating personality and mental caliber rather than testing knowledge. Because your knowledge, they are already aware of your knowledge. That's why you have qualified the prelims exam. That's why you have qualified the mains exam as well. And then only you came to the personality test. So that's why personality test is not a test of knowledge, but it is a test of your personal character. That's why. So what are the key? What are the key qualities that the board looks for a particular aspirant? So what are the key qualities? Now, first is the mental alertness, then the critical thinking and analytical ability. Now, ability to assimilate information, clear, logical, and effective communication, balanced judgment, variety and depth of interests. Now, leadership qualities, ability to work with and relate to people, intellectual integrity, moral integrity, and awareness of current affairs. So, these are few of the qualities based on which the candidate is being assessed. So, what will be the nature of the interview? Nature of the interview is nothing but, it's not a cross exam. That is, it's not a strict cross examination. It is just a casual conversation between 2 persons. That's it. So it is being conducted as a natural, purposeful, and directed conversation. That's it. Now the main question comes is that what interview is not? That is, what is the myth behind this interview? Let's see. The interview is not a test of a specialized academic knowledge, because they are not judging you based on your academic knowledge. They will see the character. They will try to see the character that is in you. They will try to see the personality. That's why the test name is known as the personality test. So it's not a test of a general knowledge, because that has been already assessed in the mains exam, prelims exam. That's it. So this is what about the personality test and all. So I hope you understood the 3 stages of the exam, like what are the things that we need to prepare for the 3 stages of our exam. Now the most important thing comes is, what is the expectation from the candidates? Like what exactly they are looking for from the candidate. Now, intelligent interest in their academic subjects, awareness of national and international developments, understanding of events occurring around them. That means you need to be well aware of. That's the most important thing. And a curiosity about modern ideas, contemporary issues, and new discoveries. That's it, and nothing else. So this was all about the interview or personality stage. Now the most important thing comes. that is the subject prioritization framework for UPSC CSE preparation. What does it means? Now, with such a vast syllabus, how do you prioritize? You cannot give equal importance or equal time to each and every subject. That is not possible. That is not humanly possible as well. So, based on what you need to select, or based on what you need to prepare a framework. So, over here, I have tried to give you a framework which will definitely help you in prioritizing the subjects. So, I have classified it under three things, under three headings: very high priority subjects, and medium priority subjects. So, what are the very high priority subjects over here? Now, very high priority subjects focus heavily on polity and constitution, Indian economy, geography, history including art and culture, and environment and ecology. So these these five are very high priority subjects. Now, why I am saying this? Now, these are crucial because these subjects appears in both prelims and mains. Now, if I go back to the syllabus again, I will show you. See. Okay, so this is my prelims syllabus. So in the prelims syllabus also, we are having the subject of the Indian polity. We are having the subjects on history, geography, as well as economy and environment. Now, if I go to our mains syllabus. So in the mains syllabus also, if you see, in general studies paper 2, we are having that is paper 1, we are having history and geography. So in general studies paper 2, we are having governance, constitution, polity. Paper 3, we are having the economic development. So that's why those 5 subjects are of utmost importance. So whenever you start preparing yourself, or whenever you start your preparation, you need to start with these subjects because these are very high priority subjects. Now next comes the high priority subjects. So what are those high priority subjects? Now, ethics, integrity and aptitude, Indian society, internal security, most importantly the essay paper and your optional paper are high priority subjects. Why I am saying this? Because these are specific for the mains exam. So these subjects are specifically there for your mains exam. So, and next one is the governance. So governance is also a high priority, but from mains perspective. Prelims perspective, it is not of that much of importance. Now next comes the medium priority subjects. So medium priority subjects, what are those? Now science and technology and international relations are medium priority subjects from both prelims and mains. So these will appear in both prelims and mains. And next is social justice and disaster management. So these two subjects will appear only in our mains exam and not in our prelims exam. So I means whenever you start your preparation, you need to focus on the very high priority subjects first, and then high priority subjects, and then the medium priority subjects. So this was all about the subject prioritization based on which you can prepare yourself. Now, to bring it all together, we need to remember certain key principles of our UPSC preparation. Now, what are those key principles? First is understand the syllabus before you start your preparation. Next is analyze previous year questions regularly. Now, one thing I am telling you now itself, syllabus and our previous year questions, these are the two Bibles. These are called as the Bibles. Why so? Because syllabus will help you to understand that what are the topics which are being mentioned in the which are being mentioned by UPSC. Previous year questions will help you to understand what type of questions are coming from those topics. So that's why these two is our Bible. Now, what is the next principle? Third is focus on limited and standard resources. No need to go and run after multiple resources, because ultimately you will end up in confusions and all. That's the only thing, because ultimately what matters is revision. That's the only thing. Next is, as I mentioned, that prioritize revision over accumulation of materials. It's not that how much you have studied, it's the thing that how much you can retain. That's the only difference, and that is what will help you to succeed in this exam. Next is prepare prelims and mains in an integrated manner. What does it mean? Now see, it's not that you are preparing yourself for the prelims exam. You are preparing yourself for the mains exam. So it's not that you are preparing yourself for the prelims exam. So what will happen if you score 200 out of 200 in prelims? Nothing, because you have not prepared yourself for the mains exam, which is of utmost importance. So that's why always your preparation should be in an integrated manner. Both prelims and mains should go hand in hand. And before the prelims exam, say for example 2 months before exam, you fully focus on the prelims. That's it. But from now onwards, you need to prepare yourself in an integrated manner. And last is maintain consistency throughout the preparation journey. So it's not that one day you are studying for 10 to 15 hours and the next day you are studying only for 1 hour. No. If you are studying in a consistent manner for 6 to 7 hours, I am not saying that no one can study for 10 to 15 hours throughout the year on a daily basis. Even the toppers were not doing it in that way. So if you can consistently study for 6 to 7 hours on a daily basis, that's more than enough. But consistent study is the most important thing. And another most important thing is quality obviously matters more than the quantity. That means how many hours you have studied does not matter. How much quality study you have done, that matters. So this was all about today's session. This was all about today's sessions where we have discussed about the approach to the preparation process. In our next session, so as I mentioned that it's a series of 12 to 14 sessions, it's a foundation series. So if you are a beginner, this is the series based on which you can start your preparation. So in our next session, what topic we will be going to cover? In our next session, we are going to dive into chapter 3, that is how to start your UPSC preparation from zero. That is, we will be discussing on the books, sources and the strategy in our coming session. So thank you for watching. Keep studying hard and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.